Welcome to an episode of What's in the Box. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so we'll just jump right into it and we'll see what's in the box. Alright, first off, we'll go with this one. Alright. Alright, so what we got here is, alright, let's say you're going to do an AR5 swap on, let's say for instance, 2JZ. Alright, there is a company out of Canada, I'm thinking it's CPR is the name of the company. Alright, so you have a component set that gives you, because there's two styles of the the AR5. There's an MA5 and an AR5. So everybody always sees the AR5. You just need the guibo or whatever it's called, the rubber piece. There's a billet one, I think, Drift Motion, I think they sell a kit for that. Well, there's another style, which is my luck. I got the one that's the oddball, that it takes an actual yoke. And I think this part number is like a 1310 yoke. It's like a heavy duty one. It actually says Spicer on it, so if that helps you. But I think the numbers, it's actually on it. Let me see if I can read it here. 0979A on one side, and the other side is C2-5-1169, and that's supposed to be the other version of the AR5 install kit. And also, supposedly, now I don't know this to be true, but everything I found, which is very little on this style, is you have to have this adapter to space out the bell housing on the AR5 that I have. So you have to have, alright, so you get your R154 bell housing that goes to 2JZ, and you're supposed to have this adapter, which it looks like to be about a 1/2 inch thick. I haven't measured it or anything, but it appears to be about a 1/2 inch thick, actually. So you're supposed to have that spacer, and there's a spacer for the actual, I guess the throw-up bang part. There's actually 3 of them. So I'm not sure how they go on. I'm going to research this and see how everything sets up. But to my understanding, the oddball one that I have, you have to have this kit, and plus you have to have an entirely different shifter. You can't just use the R154 shifter. You have to have a different shifter. So with that being said, this is the kit to go to a bell housing on the AR5 out of the Colorado. I think the Colorado may be different in a certain year or something than the AR5s out of the Solstice and the Slingshot, and maybe even the, I think it's like a Hummer H2 or something that comes out with this AR5. But there's an actual MA5 and an AR5. And I have found very, very little information on this setup. But there is a company out of Canada called CPR, and I guess, I don't know if he's still in business or what. I guess he's super busy and he's working on some products, or he's out of business, or I don't know. I messaged him on Facebook. He left me on red. You've heard that. He left me on red. He didn't reply. I had a question how thick this actually was, just trying to, get some measurements, and he never replied. So Actually, a guy, Lee, thank you, Lee, the guy that drives the JZX90 that comes to the drift track with us, he actually had this kit and he gave me a deal on it. So I definitely appreciate the deal on this, Lee. Lee came in clutch with it. He had this, maybe he went a different route with what he was working on. But Lee ended up having the whole kit, and it's not been used, it's not been installed or anything. All brand new, still in the packaging, still in the wrapper. But luckily, Lee had this thing, gave me a steal on it. I appreciate it, man, I really do. And so that moves me forward on that. And also I had to get a shifter, which I can't use the R154 shifter on this kit as well. My luck, I got the one version of it that you have to have a million things. But either way, this is that kit. So, moving on. Alright, the next thing. If you've heard of max speeding rods, max speeding or max peeding, whatever you want to call it, those guys are the home of the $128, something like that, turbo. So I picked one of those jewels up. Got a couple of stickers. That's actually a pretty cool little sticker. So they got a max speeding rod. It's a sticker. It's the like the raised one, like almost like the, you know, like whatever trim car you have. It's kind of a raised type style on it. It's got a little bit of a piece of paper in there. It didn't really have nothing on it. So far, the box was damaged. I can't blame them for that. That, you know, shipping maybe, I guess, has one damaged that. So it comes with, there's 2 metal gaskets and a little pamphlet comes with it. There's an O-ring, or a washer, I guess it would be. And then the gasket. It does have the drain gasket or supply gasket, one of the 2. Alright, so first glance, we can get it out of the box. It's heavy. Holy crap, that thing's heavy. It's packaged really well. Alright, so that's everything. And it's packaged really well, actually. So far so good as far as the packaging and the just at a glance here as we're opening it. Got our big zip tie right here on the front of it. Let's cut the plastic. Alright, so here we go. Now it's got a little dust cover on one side. This is actually for my son's Christmas present. So that's dating our video, so you'll know how far behind we are now. Yeah, I mean, this thing actually looks really nice. Comes with, you know, 2 real nice covers. Those are pretty solid plastic. Super tight. The compressor housing, super tight. Cast manifold, cast side of it looks really good. Everything looks clean, looks solid. Go to the exhaust side. It feels pretty good. First glance, we've not hooked it up, we've not ran it, but it is constructed as good as any turbo I've put my hand on, and it does have, you know, I had the Precision 6262 at one time, years ago, back when I was running a Honda Civic boosted, and the anti-surge housing came out, which, you know, ended up being like a great thing. Everybody wanted the newest trim. I had the older style before that anti-surge housing came out. Well, everybody's like, oh, you got to get rid of that 6262 and get a newer housing with anti-surge, because it's, you know, the way to go. This one actually comes with it. So there's your anti-surge housing. If it's actually functioning, I don't know. I mean, it looks as if it would be a functioning turbo. Everything looks actually to par. I mean, it looks really well, really good. Looks good. I don't know how good you can see that because I'm kind of limited on the light right now. Honestly, my honest opinion at first glance, this thing's actually really nice. I mean, it's not super thin. You know, obviously we've not hooked it up. The bolt holes, the threads look good. They don't look damaged or boogered up. You know, I can't tell if the surfaces are flat, you know, until we install it, if we're gonna have like an exhaust leak or, you know, a leak on either side. Everything looks pretty good. Visually, everything's cast well. It doesn't look like, I mean, it's solid. I can't stress enough how solid this thing is. Yeah, I mean, it's got everything it should have. It's a turbo. You know, as far as the quality and the R&D that they've done, I really don't know, you know, longevity or the horsepower, you know, how long it's good for 400, 500 horse, how long it'll last. But we got this for the 2JZ. We still got to get us I think we're going to run a log style manifold. So we're planning on boosting my son's IS300 drift car. So that's what this is about. But at first glance, max peating, turbo, yeah, it looks really good, and it is super solid. The anti-surge housing, you know, that was a big thing back then. So, and it comes with that, so that's a plus. I did talk to some people, and they said that you have to make sure you get the right reducer for the oil feed line to keep this thing from smoking. To make sure, you know, you just don't put too much oil down it, you know. I guess you can get a reducer for these, and I mean, it looks pretty solid. There was one brand that you're supposed to drill the actual oil feed orifice, and this might be it. I don't know. I'll check into it. I'll read a little more about it. If that's the oil feed on the top right there, I could see it might having to be drilled out just a hair. I don't know. I'll research a little more. This specific turbo. But as far as overall, I mean, this thing looks great. Yeah, so I can't say anything negative about it. The only thing positive I can say about it is, you know, the just overall workmanship. This thing's looks great. I mean, it really does. And I have another package. I don't know that I'm going to drag it all out, but I got a welding machine, and I ordered a cart for my MIG welding rig for the gas and my actual MIG welder. So I'll have a cart to put together, and I'll put all that together, and we'll be able to look a little more in detail once I get it together to see if it's a good purchase. It's like $100 off eBay. So we'll revisit this when we're actually assembling it, and which we'll revisit all these parts at some point. I usually, if I don't say anything bad about these parts because I get so busy, they usually work well. If something doesn't fit and doesn't work well, that's when you'll hear me, you know, revisit it and inform. Like the headers on the Miata, eBay headers, absolutely horrible. Had to drill, cut, grind, and they still have a leak. So that was a horrible purchase. You may have better luck than I did, but they didn't fit like even close. But that's, you know, when I revisit stuff, a lot of times it's because I have problems out of it. But everything right here looks solid, looks great. This kit, it was I guess a must-have for that 2J swap on the AR5. And this max peating turbo, visually, 2 thumbs up. It feels solid, but until it gets on the car and we start making boost, and then we can see if the flanges leak, or until we can get this turbo on the car. And again, it depends on the manifold style you're using too, because the manifold may be a little warped on your exhaust side and not the turbo. So you got to kind of figure out which one's got the issue before you make a formal statement saying one is bad or the other is. Just feeling the face of it, the outside edges of this flange could be maybe hit with a file. They're a little high on the outside lip, but visually looks as good as any turbo I've had. And like I say, I've had a Precision 62, some oddball off and on through the years, different Garretts and different was Air Research or just random eBay knockoffs and factory truck turbos off of my diesel truck and some other things. And visually it looks just as good. I think this is a journal bearing. I don't believe it's a ball bearing, but it feels, I mean, don't feel sloppy or anything, which, you know, it being new, you wouldn't imagine it would be, but everything feels tight. So yeah, that's this episode. All right, so that's this episode of What's in the Box. Hey, we appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching our videos, everything. Thanks for the likes, subscribes. If you haven't subscribed, appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Stay with us. We got a lot more drifting. We got some more builds coming. I've got another 2JZ in the house, another 2 non-VVTIs, got 2 VVTIs, and I got two VVTIs out in the parking lot that we're probably going to start pulling out soon. So we'll probably put some 2Js together here soon. It'll be all new for me. I haven't done a 2J build at all. So we may be moving forward on some of those projects. And as usual, we got the drift cars. We're going to be drifting some more. It's getting closer to the end of the year for us, and we probably this year we're going to try to do a lot more traveling, get to some different tracks. Even if we just go to a FD competition and just watch, and maybe even some other drift events and just watch. So stay tuned. We'll be doing some more of that stuff. And we got a lot of merch. Check us out on eBay, Chesser Motorsports or Chesser Drifting. Just search on eBay. That stuff will be on there. There's going to be a couple of different people that's going to carry that this year. So yeah, man. Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for following along, following all of our stuff that we do. And yeah, just thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Here we go.
feeling high.